So, a lot of you may know from looking at some of my posts that I've been cleaning up some cast iron lately and trying an electrolysis process. And my first project turned out really good. So, I thought I'd show a video this time of what the process entails. I didn't have a battery charger that was old enough, it was a manual battery charger. So I needed some type of power source. And I saw on YouTube how to convert an old desktop computer power supply to work for this electrolysis process. So I pulled this desktop out of the attic, probably been there 15 years or something, and it had a 250 watt power supply in it. I pulled that out, opened it up, cut off all the connectors, bundled the wires together. So all your orange wires, all your yellow wires, your black wires, your red wires, and then there's some extra wires that don't go to anything. They're not important. And what you're concerned with is the yellow wires and the black wires. You should be able to see on the circuit board, it'll tell you what voltage those wires are. The yellows are going to be 12 volt, the black's going to be your ground. The only thing to look out for is there's a green wire inside, and that wire needs to be connected to one of the black wires in order for your power supply to cut on. That green wire is normally connected to your power button on the front of your computer that cuts on your computer. So just connect the green wire to one of the black wires, tie them together, forget about them, tuck them back inside. I just tucked everything back inside after I put tape over the end so that there was not going to be any kind of connection anywhere. Neatly put everything back inside, leaving just the yellow and the black wires out. And you can see here on my power supply, I'm getting 12 volt output at 10 amp. So I looked at my new version charger for a car battery or a lawnmower battery charger, whatever, and it puts out 12 volts at 6 amps. So I felt like at 10 amps, I was going to be okay. I've seen some other power supplies on other computers just by doing some research on this. You know, they're 28 amps and stuff like that, but I think 10 amps you'll be just fine. So I connected a set of alligator clips to the yellow and black wires to connect into my electrolysis tank. My electrolysis tank is simply a 5-gallon bucket filled with water, and you use a half a cup of Arm & Hammer superwashing detergent. I think it's an additive that goes in your washer, and the water should be clear when you put your cast iron in it, relatively clear, maybe a little cloudy. So for me, I just used a piece of plate steel, and I've got this Dutch oven that I put in here for about a day and a half, and it was in really good shape when I bought it from this antique store somewhere I was traveling. I'd been looking for a Dutch oven, and it looked like it would clean up very easily with what I normally do, which is take a wire brush on a drill, get off all the rust, all the loose crud, and then use Easy Off oven cleaner and just set them in my oven, cold oven, for 24 hours, and then pull them out, wash them off, and if it needs it again, I'll do that again. So I did that with this Dutch oven, so it's very clean really when I put it in the bath, but I had the electrolysis bath already set up All I did was change the water and start fresh with new solution. And this has been running about 36 hours, about a day and a half. So I don't know if you can see, the water's pretty clear. I'll put a picture up of what it looks like when it's really kind of dirty, but you can see the bubbles coming off of the cast iron that's in there right now. I've got two pieces in there, the Dutch oven itself and the lid. So I've just connected both of those to the side with my negative. And then I've got a piece of plate steel hanging so it doesn't touch the Dutch oven. And I've got my positive connected to that. So I'm gonna unplug this and pull this out and let you see what it looks like. I didn't bother to put a power on off or LED indicator lights or any of that fancy stuff that some folks do. I just unplug it when it's time to cut it off. So I can just take that off. All right, let's see what the skillet looks like. Or actually the Dutch oven. That's what it looks like. You can see really how trashy that water got when I pulled that out of there. There was a lot of sediment and stuff that really sank to the bottom. Usually that foams up on the top and creates quite a foam. So here's the lid to the oven. Oh man, it's sparkling clean. And let me try to show you what that piece of metal that I accidentally dropped down in the bucket. So that's what that piece of metal looks like with all that crud that settled on it. So I'll reuse that and pull it out, scrape it all off, wash it off, hit that piece of metal with a wire brush, and it'll be good to use again for my next project. So for this Dutch oven, it's time to go inside, put it in the sink, wash her off, scrub it down with a Brillo pad, Scotch-Brite type, steel pad, and then it's ready to season. Here's my Dutch oven after I brought it in from the electrolysis tank. I washed it really well in the sink, and I used one of these Scotch-Brite scrubber pads to scrub any loose material that remained on the cast iron. Like I said before, this one was in really great shape when I got it. I think I could have probably seasoned it right up after I wire brushed it and easy offed it. But I went ahead and electrolysis this anyway because I had the stuff set up, and I thought it couldn't hurt to get even cleaner. A trick to use is after you're happy with the way it cleans up, then leave it in your sink in some really hot water, submerged in some hot water. Once you bring it out of the water and it's exposed to air and it starts to dry up, this cast iron will flash rust on you. So when I bring mine out of the hot water, I'll shake off as much water as I can, but then I'll go ahead and put my oil that I'm going to use to season it, just maybe a tablespoon on the inside and the outside. Tablespoon in while it's wet, and a coffee filter works great. It doesn't leave as much lint as a paper towel, but paper towel or something, and go over your pot all over, so you can see this is kind of shiny. That's because I oiled it. This is not for seasoning. This is just to keep it from flashing while I put it in the oven to dry. So this first cycle is going to be simply to dry my pot out. I'm going to put it in on 350 degrees for maybe 15 minutes. Once it's dry, I'll pull it out and crank my oven up to 500 degrees. While my oven's heating, then I'll come back with my seasoning and coat it down really well. I put it in for an hour, pull it back out, season it again, put it back in for an hour. I may do that 3 or 4 times depending on how it looks. On my last time, I'll just leave it. After that last hour, I'll cut the oven off and I'll walk away, and I'll come back the next morning and get it out of the oven after it's cooled, and it looks pretty good. So for right now, we're just gonna put this in on 350 just to dry it out before I start seasoning it. Here's what my Dutch oven looks like after I dried it for 15 minutes at 350 with a very light coat of oil on it to keep it from flash rusting. Then another light coat of oil all over, put it in the oven at 500 degrees for 1 hour, and this is what it looks like. You can already see it's starting to darken up. So my next step is to oil it again, wipe off any excess oil, put it back in the oven, 500 degrees for another hour. It's the next morning after my last seasoning cycle, and I totally let the pan cool down overnight. Let's get it out, take a quick look, see what it looks like. So again, this is after 3 seasonings of 1 hour a piece at 500 degrees with just a light coat of the oil on it. I think it turned out pretty well. Again, this is a Lodge unmarked Dutch oven, just been re-seasoned. I hope you enjoyed my video. It's not all that difficult. I hope I prove that, and give it a try yourself.